Well, NG Dev Team have now just released pre-orders for Kraut for the Neo Geo AES, the collector's edition pre-order that is. The limited edition one I believe will be 1 to 2 months later from now being June the 9th, I believe. Yep, that's correct. So probably about late August, early September, maybe a bit later because they sometimes are a bit late with things. There'll be the limited edition pre-order, but for now it's the collector's edition. And I have to say, after looking at the latest trailer for the game, aside from the fact that they have stated in the trailer that the music playing in the trailer is early music and the music for the game will be different because NG Dev Team changed musicians and hired a new one, and I believe the music will sound very similar to the first trailer, where it's a bit more heavy metal punk rock stuff. Apart from the music, but I quite liked the old music that they played there. It kind of reminded me a bit of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, but that's just me. Well, what can I say? I can definitely see the improvements they've made since the first trailer, and I have to be honest, I didn't realise that my last Rambly video on Krautbuster would be as popular as it was. You know, we're nearing 1,000 views on that, or 1,000 listens. Probably take away 20 or 30 of those, which were me just checking up on comments and stuff. Yeah, about 950 legitimate views on that video, and I did not expect to get so many on the game. So I feel obliged to follow it up with the new trailer and the release of the collector's edition. And like I said just a second ago, yes, the improvements I can see are noticeable and I like them. I like it a lot. The main character's animation has been upgraded. You can see that he's got more frames of animation. He looks a little different from what he did like before, in that he looks a little less Metal Slug and a little bit more Contra. They have stated that they're trying to go for a bit more of a Contra feel to this game than they were Metal Slug. Maybe due to the backlash of the Metal Slug comments that people were making, including myself, that the game looks more like a rip-off of Metal Slug. Who knows? And maybe some of the gameplay elements that were noticeable in the first trailer that people questioned, they've now improved and tweaked, and you can see it in this trailer. It does look more like a Contra game. It still has that Metal Slug charm, though, in terms of the graphics, in terms of the style of the game, not necessarily gameplay mechanics-wise, but just visual style. It does still remind me of a Metal Slug game, but you can definitely see the Contra elements in it. And I think they've blended it together quite nicely. So overall, in terms of overall of the tweaks that they've made, even I should say, the overall opinion I've got on it is, yeah, looks a lot better, guys. Well done. Graphically, it doesn't look that much different from the trailer, but it looks nice. After we saw the first stage, which is that weird sort of village farmyard style trailer with a bit of jungle in it, I'm not quite sure how to describe it properly, but either way, we've seen it before. That looked very similar, but the jungle bit of it looked good. And then the levels afterwards looked really good, really nice. They had the snow level, they had some level in an army base or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head actually, but I can remember it looked very nice. And yeah, art style wise, again, level design, level style looks really nice. Again, quite Contra style. There's a bit more Contra elements to it, but good. I think level design, it looks nice. Graphically, it looks nice. That's good. Again, the main character, he looks a little bit more like, well, he doesn't look quite so stocky this time. He looks a little taller. They've improved the animation of the legs, I could tell. And the jumping mechanics that we noted in the first trailer, which looks quite floaty, in this it looks very smooth. And you can see that when he gets to the top of his jump, the main character that is, he hovers in the air for a little bit, and then his momentum due to gravity takes over and slows down. So the jumping arc looks a little bit more natural this time. Well done, NG Dev Team, for tweaking that. It wasn't a massive flaw like in the first trailer. We just noticed it. I just noticed it, and the people in the comments did. And I thought, yeah, it does look like a jumping on the moon in the first trailer. But in this one, they've tweaked it. It looks a lot more natural. Excellent. The explosion graphics, I've noticed, some of them are still the same as they've used in Gunlord, but a lot of them had been tweaked, looked a little sharper, looked a little bit more brighter visually, a bit more realistic, only a little bit, but you could tell they've made some changes. Excellent stuff. A new mechanic I noticed was these masks that seem to appear. They seem to hover in the air. There's like one of a chicken, one of, I think it was a hockey mask, and a pig mask. I don't know what the third one was. It looks like a hockey mask, but I might be wrong. Could be a steel face or something like that. And if you pick up these masks, they sort of change your power-ups. They act, I don't know if they act like weapons, so to speak, but they kind of change the weapon, well, the firepower you've got in a way. Possibly maybe your move actions as well, I don't know, but it looked funny, it looked different. It was a different mechanic they've put in there to make it a bit jazzy. I like it, looks all right. Not something I would have expected in this game, but I can roll with it. It looks interesting. I'll give it a go. It looks all right, so that's good. I like that. The enemy variation was pretty good as well overall. You know, okay, we had soldiers and tanks and other stuff. We had some weird sort of like mech things, these like big leg tower mechy things that were walking about. They look pretty cool. And there's some other stuff that we saw. It looked like, you know, an advanced Nazi German army. I won't say that they are a Nazi German army enemy, but they look similar in terms of their uniform style. Probably should have been a bit careful with using that word in this video. So if I've offended anyone there, I apologise. I didn't mean to say this is a Nazi game or anything. No. But they just look like it. Either way, the villains look good. And yeah, I think the enemy variation was fine for the most part. I'm sure there's more to come in the game. But from what I saw, it looked all right. Apparently, this game has 8-way shooting. In other words, the directional pad on your Neo Geo control pad or joystick on the arcade stick, each direction can fire the gun for every gun. Some of them apparently can do 16 directions. Don't know how that's going to work, but either way, pretty cool. You can see some of it happening in the trailer. I liked that. That was good. So it's got more firepower. Directional shooting controls. Again, I'm not quite sure what the correct term is for it to explain it, but 8-way to 16-way shooting, that's good stuff. Animation looked good again. It seemed to flow at 60 frames per second. It looked like it did, with very little, if not any, slowdown. I didn't detect any. There might have been some, but I don't think there was actually, to be honest with you. So it looked all very smooth, excellent, well done. I think that's pretty impressive. I don't think there's much more to say, really, other than I really want to get a copy of this game, and I kid you not. Now, they did say in a newsletter, and this is NG Dev Team, by the way, that the collector's edition for this game is going to be a bit more expensive than the original collector editions of the previous games. So, Ratsion, Neo XYX, Last Hope Pink Bullets, Gunlord, Fast Striker, and the original Last Hope. I don't know if the original Last Hope had a collector's edition or not, I can't remember, but those were around €499 for the collector's edition. So you got a poster, a soundtrack, postcards, that kind of malarkey. This one's €549. The reason they've gave for the increased costs is that this game apparently has cost them more to develop than Gunlord, Neo XYX, and Last Hope Pink Bullets combined. So it's their most expensive game developed to date. Some people have argued it's due to the weaker euro. I think it's a bit of both. So I think, yes, they've definitely had to tweak the developments up to improve the game from the first trailer. And because it's a pixel art game where all the graphics are pixel art drawings, it means most of it's all hand drawn and then happen to be translated onto graphical tablets, all that sort of stuff. I don't know how it works, but it's not CG rendering type thing. It's proper pixel art animation. That's going to be more expensive because it takes more time to do and you need to hire artists to do it, like proper, expensive artists to do it. They've had to change musician. I'm sure that cost them a bit more money. I can agree with them that the development costs would be higher for this game. They didn't hint at the weaker Euro NG Dev Team. That's just what people have been saying in the comment section. I agree with them a little bit that it's got something to do with that, but an extra €50, I'm not that fussed by it. I mean, it's expensive to begin with. I mean, everybody could just turn around and say, what, €549 for a game? You're fucking crazy. It's a Neo Geo AES game. There's not many of them going to be made for the collector's edition wise. I think they stated the totals are 98, 49 for the English, 49 Japanese, depending on what people pre-order. The limited edition, I believe, is going to have 100 units, so there'll be 50 units again. So there's going to be about 200 units of this game being made for the Neo Geo AES, and also not forgetting the MVS copies. That's it. So that's quite a small amount of copies for the game. It's a very small print run. Pretty big, actually, for a Neo Geo game, thinking about it, because some Neo Geo games, the original ones for the AES, at least the English versions anyway, had like print runs in the low tens, even to the low hundreds. Couple of games rumoured to have only 5 or 6 copies available in English. Those are games like Ultimate 11 and Kazuna Encounter. I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but yeah. So it's not a bad print run, and considering they're expensive per cartridge, cartridges are expensive to make anyway, plus the box art, plus all that stuff, plus they're having to get all these parts made by third parties to be as faithful to the original Neo Geo AES cartridges and boxes as possible. Yeah, it's going to cost a bit, of course. It's if you're a Neo Geo AES collector, it is a bit of an investment because Neo Geo games range from 50 quid to, well, thousands, depending on what game you're getting and how many copies there are. For a brand new Neo Geo AES game, yeah, it's pricey, but I think an extra €50 compared to their original collector's edition ones is not a massive increase. They said it was going to be significant, and I was a bit nervous, but it's not too bad, so yeah, it's all right. So yeah, so overall, very pleased, NG Dev team. I hope that you do sell your collector's edition cartridges. I hope you sell your limited edition cartridges. I hope the production run goes smoothly. They have hinted that there might be a few problems. Well, they haven't hinted that there are going to be a few problems, but they have hinted that it's going to be difficult. But I'm sure it's not nearly, not impossible. Just you have to wait. They've delayed it to 2016. They usually do, NG Dev team. But when you do get your cartridges, they're pretty good for the most part. The only complaint I would make about any of NG Dev team's games is Neo XYX, the AES version. Guys, what the hell? When it came to the vertical screen orientation, where you could play it Tate style, which is where you can play it on a 3x4 video screen, so it looked like a vertical shooter. Um, it was stupid. I'll go into it in detail another day. That was the only fault I had. It was a stupid setup they had for it, and it didn't work compared to the Dreamcast version, where you can play it in Tate version straight out of the box. You just put the game in the Dreamcast, you just change the mode to Tate mode. It worked fine with the Neo Geo AES. Well, I won't go there. But anyway, other than that, all their games have been fantastic. I'm looking forward to this one. I really hope I can get a collector's edition copy. If I can't, because it is pricey, I'll probably get a limited edition one. I'd like to get the collector's edition one because they've got some nice box art and poster artwork for it. The artwork for this game, for the cover and all that, is brilliant as well. It looks really striking, really good. So yeah, but overall, well done, Edgy Dev team. I think you've made a nice, cracking homebrew game for the Neo Geo. Hope it sells well. Hope you guys agree. Let me know if you've listened to this. I doubt you will listen to this as much as you had with the first trailer. But if you do listen to this, let me know in the comments. What do you think? Do you think the improvements are good? Have you noticed any improvements? I have. Have you? Have you noticed anything I've missed? And if you had the money, would you get a copy? Or would you get a copy anyway? Let us know. Anyway, thanks, guys. Hope you're all well. And girls as well, by the way. Guys, girls, ladies, gentlemen. Take it easy. Have a good one. And I hope to see you in the next vid.